I think it's fair to say that the Colorado Avalanche are pretty good.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network, the number one sports podcast network out there, where we cover your team every day, even when they get absolutely waxed 6-0. So if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And tonight we'll be talking about the Sharks 6-0, just absolute beatdown, bully domination by the Colorado Avalanche. We'll discuss why this is a nice reminder of how far the Sharks have to go still. We'll take away some positives from this game, as Sam Dickinson, I thought, played very well tonight. We'll just kind of try to shift through the rubble to figure out some good stuff. Plus, we'll check in with the Barracuda, who have now won 5 straight games and points in 11 straight as they dominate 3-0 tonight. So let's get started by getting into this game. So if you watch the preview, I said I don't have a great feeling about this game because of the way the Avalanche are playing. And the Avalanche just did whatever they wanted in this game, right? And it shows just how far I think the Sharks still have to go. And again, this is not to take away anything from San Jose. And I think we can all agree that this season has been a pleasant surprise, right? And you feel like the Sharks are maybe a little bit ahead of schedule with where they're at, right? I mean, they're a couple points out of a playoff spot going into Thanksgiving here. And that's right. That's always the marker, is how close are you to a playoff spot at Thanksgiving? And the Sharks are right there in the mix in a very crowded Western Conference, which we'll take, right? I think a lot of us were, myself was didn't want to really kind of talk about playoffs, and I'm still not ready to talk a realistic playoff run here, but it's just nice to be in the mix at this point. But then you see this Avalanche team, which is an absolute juggernaut right now, right? They've won 10 straight games. Their last loss came to the Sharks at the beginning of the month, where the Sharks had to, rely on Yaroslav Askarov in that game and get an overtime win. And, the Sharks have won a fair amount of games with that formula, right? Of, we're going to keep it close. We're going to rely on our goaltending because we think Askarov and Nedeljkovic are outstanding. And then we think in these clutch moments, we just have special players who can come up big. And it's worked for a majority of this season. But then you have nights like tonight, right, where you just, the Sharks could not buy a goal tonight, right? And they had plenty of opportunities. And you think back, Sam Dickinson has a great opportunity on a beautiful pass from Macklin Celebrini. He's not able to get one there. The power play, I thought, looked really good tonight. There's some other, Ty Dellandre's got an empty net. There's a bunch of scrambles. And, right, they just couldn't solve Blackwood tonight. Now, I think that's there is actually makes me feel better about the game today. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but it's just a reminder of as this team continues to build and starts to become more and more competitive, right? And at some point, you're gonna have to take down this Avs team, because I don't think this Avalanche team is going to go anywhere, right? Especially with Nathan MacKinnon, who's, at the peak of his game. Cale Makar is at the peak of his game. The way they have built this team, where, as long as those two guys are there, they feel like they're going to be able to surround them with talent, and they've solved their goaltending. And, it's just a nice reminder of the Sharks still have plenty of steps to go to be not only a playoff team, right, but then a serious playoff team and a cup contender and such. And I think tonight was just a kind of a nice reminder of that. And that's okay. Remember, like, we're still very early in this phase. This isn't like, like the Kings, for example, who it kind of feels like they plateaued. Sorry, Kings fans, if you're listening for some reason, but like, a Kings team that, it's very good in the regular season. Then they get to the playoffs, and then what happens, right? They lose in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers every year. You can set your clock to it. Like, the Sharks are still like trying to figure out what they have here, right? You have Macklin Celebrini, who's going to be an absolute superstar. You have Will Smith, who's looking like a great player. William Eklund. You feel like you have Yaroslav Askarov and Sam Dickinson, like, it's starting to come into his own. Like, you have just a bunch of pieces here that are really starting to, kind of lay the foundation of what this team is going to be. So, like, it's okay to have these games occasionally. And the way the Sharks have played lately, you kind of felt like they were overdue for one of these games. Just to kind of like smack in the face, just as a reminder of like, you're not ready for the big boy table yet. And again, that's okay. So I'm trying to be positive tonight because, I mean, right, like, this Avs team is ridiculous. Like, this is one of the best teams I think I've seen in a long time, and the way that they're playing and the way that they can play in all, like at all ends. And it feels like, if they want, if you want to get into like a 1-0 type of game, cool, we can do that. If you want to get into a 6-5 type of game, cool, we can do that as well, right? This is the best offense in the league and the best defense in the league. If you watch the preview, like, this team is great at everything, like, other than the power play, and that just feels like it's a matter of time for that, because there's just too talented of a team. So, like, don't get all in your feelings about this game. Like, I'm not coming away from this game just like, feeling worse about the Sharks or anything like that. Like, this is just, would you have liked to have it be more competitive and maybe not a 6-0, absolute beatdown? 100%, right? Would you like to not see Askarov get chased out of this game? Yes, 100%. But it's part of this process and part of just that kind of nice reminder of where this team still is, and this is still a very young team trying to figure out what it has and where, kind of where its pieces fit, and, and seeing these young players develop, right? And they've been getting a lot of wins this year, which is, again, something, I think I was hesitant on kind of seeing how this team would win. But, and, it's something we've talked about a lot, right? Where the way that they play games, you're asking a lot, and it's, the sustainability is questionable at times. But again, one game, and like I said, I actually don't mind just the straight beatdown type of game, because I think it's easier to move on from, right? I think it's easier to just be like, it wasn't our night, right? We had plenty of opportunities to bury some and maybe put some lipstick on the pig, and maybe it's 6-2 or something like that, and then you kind of feel a little bit better about yourself because at least we didn't get shut out, we were buried. But with this, like, it just wasn't their night. It just wasn't their night. They just, any opportunity they had, they couldn't bury. And credit to the Avalanche, where anytime the Sharks started to build up some momentum, they just shut things down on the Sharks. So, yeah, I'm not like it's the end of the world and stuff like that. I think the Sharks this team has, one, built up too much goodwill to it, and two, the Avalanche are really freaking good at hockey. So, and like, you're going to have these moments. And I think actually this weekend's game against Vegas, that's the game I'm kind of circling as like, that's your measuring stick game, right? Because the Vegas Golden Knights have run the Pacific basically since they got here. Vegas, who's struggled as of late, I think that's the game for the Sharks. Where, like, if they get beat down 6-0 in that game, then it's going to be a nice, like, have a long look in the mirror of what you really are type of game. So we're going to try to take away some positives, including Sam Dickinson, who I thought played really well tonight, and I think is ready to get a little bit more responsibilities, get a little bit more on his plate. So we'll talk about some of the positives from this game. And then again, we'll be talking about the Barracuda, who look like the wagon might be back, guys. So we'll get to that in just 1 second. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you miss the start of the game or just want to ride the hot hand, Steph Curry, I'm looking at you. FanDuel has live bets and everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com to sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, guys. Do, of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Just as a reminder, there'll be episode tonight, of course. Then we'll be back Friday morning. We'll have a preview episode to get you ready for the Canucks. Then we'll, of course, have an episode after the Canucks game, and then the same thing on Saturday. Preview for Vegas, and I get reaction after Vegas. So, make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. So positives from this game. Again, we are shifting through the rubble here, right? We got our little pans going. We're in the stream, knee deep in the water there, trying to shift through for some gold nuggets in this game. And I think you have to start with Sam Dickinson, who I thought played a very good, aggressive game from Dickinson. And I think that's what is going to make Dickinson a special player, is when he utilizes his aggression positively, right? And not just being overly aggressive. And you saw tonight some of the plays he made, right? That jumping up there, reading the play, realizing where Smith, Celebrini, and that he had a free lane down the middle. And he felt like he had support where he could make that jump, right? And if he scores there, it's 1-1, and the Sharks feel like they're right back in this game, right? So it wasn't just that one play, right? I thought there was some other really smart pinches from him. I thought he played very well in his own zone. I would just like to see him get more minutes, and especially in a game like tonight, right, where the game is lost, and he played almost 17 minutes, which is good, but it felt like you could have maybe got him into the action a little bit earlier, especially with the game being 5-0 halfway through the game there. So, I thought he played really well. I thought he made some smart decisions. I'm really intrigued to see how the Sharks utilize him this weekend, right? Especially with the how they've been doing kind of back-to-backs and stuff. They have 9 defensemen. Does he sit a game here? Because I think the way he's played, I would like to see him continue to get some more run here and try to kind of continue to stack and build games here, because I do think he's been playing better and better and better, and I think the only way he's going to continue to play better and better and better is by playing actual games. So I would like to see. Maybe I don't think the Sharks are going to take the training wheels off yet, but can we maybe take one wheel off? Can we loosen him up a little bit? Can we get him kind of going a little bit more here? As I think Dickinson continues to, you see nice growth and development from him as well. So I think he was kind of the big positive for San Jose, easily, I think, the big positive for San Jose tonight. And even Nedeljkovic, right, who he, unfortunately, he comes in cold. He gives up, the first shot is for a goal, but he still finished 21 of 23 saves. So I would, with the day off on Thursday, again, I'm revving up for this Saturday game. So I'm actually, if it was me, I'm putting Nedeljkovic back in on Friday, right? You got the day off on Thursday. I'm putting Nedeljkovic in on Friday against the kind of lesser Canucks team. And then getting Askarov ready, for Saturday's game, which I think is going to be a big game. Like I think if you're Ryan Warsowski, I think you're kind of building towards that Saturday game and trying to, use that as a nice measuring stick game for this team of, okay, what are we, what can we do, what is real and what isn't real. So Saturday is my throw everything at it type of game if I'm Warsowski. So but I think Nedeljkovic, though, he came in, I think he played really well. He made some big saves. Again, it's always tough with those you come in cold type of moments to see how you're doing. So I think he was a positive tonight. I also want to as weird as it sounds, I think the Sharks' second period, even though they gave up 3 goals, they gave up the 3 goals in 2 minutes or whatever it was, and that's your 5 minutes of just everything that goes wrong can go wrong. But in a game where you got just outshot and everything was in the favor of the Avs, the second period for the Sharks, they did do a good job of kind of pushing back, especially after that moment, right, where it goes up 5-0. And yes, the Avs probably take their foot off the brakes or foot off the gas a little bit there, but I thought that was a good pushback from San Jose. And yeah, the third period was absolute, just everyone, let's go home from both teams. But in the second period at 5-on-5, which about 12 minutes, there was a lot of power play time in there. The Sharks earned a lot of those power plays because they were playing more aggressively and playing in the offensive zone. But 22-18 shot attempts in favor of San Jose, 11-10 actual shots, 11-10 scoring chances in favor of San Jose, 1.31 to 1.14 expected goals for. So yes, you're down a bajillion goals at that point, but it would have been very easy for the Sharks to just be right, it's not our night, which it clearly wasn't your night. Let's just go get some cardio, go get on the plane and go home where we're going to have Thanksgiving tomorrow, right? Would have been very easy for that. So I do credit them for, continue to try to push there, right? And you got some power play opportunities, and the power play I thought looked pretty solid tonight. I think that goes back to Orlov and his role with it of just kind of being more of a distributor and kind of getting out of the way and letting Celebrini cook and letting, these other guys do what they're supposed to do. So I think the power play is going to start clicking here, and we're going to see much better results from the power play. And that was one of my kind of big takeaways from tonight, as well as the power play looked really good tonight, and that is a very good penalty kill, right? That is, I think they were 3rd ranked in the NHL, and the Sharks got a lot of great opportunities tonight and just weren't able to cash it. So I do think the power play is going to see some success here. So again, you lost 6-0. You're right. Nobody's gonna give you a lollipop, but there were some positive things to take away from this game, and I think you're going to see better results. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks come out on Friday against the Canucks ready to kind of put this game to bed and try to kind of take it to an equal, potentially lesser opponent in the Vancouver Canucks, who are a mess, right? I think it's fair to say. So we're going to also put this game to bed, and we're going to switch over to the Barracuda team, which has been on fire as of late. And I'm not going to lie, I watched a lot of the Barracuda game, especially compared to the Sharks game, because the Barracuda are fun and entertaining, and it is the young kids kind of leading the way. So we'll discuss that game here in just 1 second. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what we're worth between 401ks, savings, and investments. It's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch comes in, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch's great because if you can work with your partner, we can set shared goals. Maybe you're trying to buy a house, buy a car, or just plan your next adventure. And it makes it easy to make better financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where your money is going and how to make it work harder for you. It's your own personal Puckpedia, people. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, before we finish up, do of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL Game Night. They cover every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. You'll get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, your San Jose Barracuda team is absolutely on fire right now. Fifth straight win tonight as they beat the Calgary Wranglers 3-0. And honestly, this game could have been like 7-0 the way the Barracuda played tonight. They've now won, like I said, 5 straight in a row. They have points in the last 11 as well. And this team is an absolute juggernaut right now. Yes, they played some weaker teams, and I think this weekend will be just like for the Sharks. I think a nice measuring stick game as they play the Colorado Eagles, who are the number 1 team in the Pacific right now. But your Barracuda 3 points behind them right now, with both have 18 games played. This team is, and it's not like the veterans, it is the young players. It's Igor Chernyshov, it's Quentin Musty, it's Luca Cagnoni. It is, Philip Beested, who's really gotten, his game going as of late. And yes, Wallstrom and, some of these other veterans have been really good additions. Regenda, Cole Clayton was great tonight, but it is the young players leading the way. So not only are they winning, you're also getting winning contributions from these young players. And Chernyshov, I think I want to start with him, who has now earned himself PK time. And let me tell you, Igor Chernyshov on the PK is really fun. This Barracuda penalty kill, which has been their Achilles heel this season, like it is awful. Perfect tonight on the PK, of course, as they had a shutout. But Chernyshov is, over the past couple games, has started to earn PK opportunities, and I think that's goes hand in hand with this penalty kill starting to kind of tighten things up. And not only does he help this PK just shut things down, he helps drive offense. Him and Patrick Giles were together. And Giles, if you have not watched too much in the Barracuda, he's an excellent PKer. Those two guys help set up basically a 30-second shift where the Barracuda, who are on the PK, basically set up shop and got about 3 or 4 shots on goal while on the PK. It was a sight to behold. And it was because of the hustle and the skill and the speed of Chernyshov kind of setting it up, and the same thing with Giles. But like Chernyshov with another goal tonight. Quentin Musty continues to do just a lot of like really little things to help this team, right? And you see the little passes and the smart passes and his ability to just kind of always find the right guy, get to the net, get those kind of dirty goals. He had 2 assists tonight as he continues to play really well. He's been over a point per game basically kind of since the start of this streak for the Barracuda. And these young players are massive parts of it, right? Cam Lund, who was out with for a couple games with an illness, he was back in the fray tonight. You saw some of the playmaking from him, his ability, that transition ability that you saw at Northwestern, that you saw Northwestern with his ability to like that get the puck just from point A to point B. That's carrying over here into the AHL. Like he is so good with the puck on his stick, and he's so quick, and his decision making to just kind of take the puck and go, and not just kind of screw around with it, but also kind of work through some of those like stick checks and stuff. Like you saw that on display from Cam Lund tonight. Luca Cagnoni, who feels like this year the new Logan Couture, where he just constantly gets hit with the puck somewhere. It's like he got a little bit of a scared sign as he took one. I think it was in the ankle and a little slow to get up, but was back out there. Cagnoni, with Cagnoni at the helm, this is the third best power play in the AHL. And this isn't a fluke, right? This was the best power play in the AHL last year with Cagnoni, and of course, Andrew Podorowski, who won the MVP. Like, you're doing this with, gets Cagnoni, it's Beasthead tonight, it's Wahlstrom, it's Chernyshov, it's with Musty. So you have three guys who are 20 or younger out there on this power play, making this thing go. And they continue to just, I cannot wait for Luca Cagnoni to be up in the NHL playing and running the Sharks power play. Like, cannot wait for it. So, this is a really fun team. And like I said, it's not like last year was a really fun, good team, but it was more kind of veteran, your Podorowskis and your Regendas and kind of stuff like that were a little bit more driving the bus last year for it. This year, it's much more like Beasthead, who I know some people have like soured on. Beasted's playing really well right now. And that line of Chernyshov, Beasthead, and Musty are playing outstanding. It feels like every time they're on the ice, the puck is in the offensive zone. They're cycling the puck. They're creating shots. Like, it's not fluky offense. This is an NA, like that line is playing NHL hockey. It's sustainable NHL hockey. And I think Makar has to be like grinning ear to ear every time those three guys go out on the ice, and he gets to watch them because they're doing stuff that you're going to see them eventually and hopefully quickly or soon see them do in the NHL. So, also want to shout out Gabe Carrier. Like this Barracuda, I was really worried about this Barracuda tandem, like between Skarek and Carrier, and I thought that they needed a more veteran kind of NHL, AHL goalie. But they, after a sloppy start from the season, and I think a lot of that was just a bunch of the new guys kind of learning and getting used to playing in the AHL. Like this group is really good, and the Carrier's been like got his second start in a row tonight. Got the shutout. Wasn't tested too much, but made some of the saves that he had to make. And I think this group can go pretty far. And also, if the Barracuda get to the playoffs, they could add Askarov. Like, Askarov will still be waivers exempt. So if they really wanted to, they could actually send Askarov down and get him in there as well. I don't think the Sharks would do it, but it'd be really fun to just have like Askarov, just going down to the AHL and just dominating as this team tries to win the championship down there, win a Calder Cup. That would be super fun. They're probably not going to do it, but it's fun to think about. So, but yeah, like, tough night for the Sharks, but I think it's an easy one to just kind of, it just wasn't our night. That's a really great team. Let's get ready for Friday. And this Barracuda team, they got a big test this weekend going to Colorado. I think if they win, if you win both, but if you split that series, and what, like, the loss is like a close competitive loss, and you, like I said, you split that series, I think you're going to feel really great about this team coming out of the weekend and kind of where this Barracuda team is kind of headed. And they are a fun team with a lot of fun pieces. And like I said, it is the young players kind of carrying the load for the Barracuda. So that's going to be it for tonight. Like I said, we'll be back Friday. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Friday, happy Thanksgiving. Bye, friends.